Picture a preschool auditorium. The room is a collision of two completely different energies: restless toddlers waiting in the wings, and parents in the audience, waiting for the curtain to rise. When the show begins, a 4-year-old breaks from the choreography, snatches a microphone out of turn, and yells into it. Her father smiles, taking quiet pride in her sudden, unscripted burst of confidence. He is an accepting spectator. Across the room, a different reaction unfolds. Another set of parents sit with their hands flat against their heads, exchanging disappointed looks every time their 3-year-old son misses a step in his group dance. The preschool stage operates like a magnifying glass. It rarely tells us anything meaningful about a toddler's actual developmental capability. Instead, it projects the unfiltered expectations of the adults sitting in the dark, watching them. We can call this the Sachin Tendulkar syndrome. It occurs when a parent treats a toddler like a prodigy who must flawlessly execute a routine on command. The irony here is the timeline. Achieving the status of a generational athletic talent requires decades of relentless, highly specialized conditioning. It is a long-term process of physical and mental refinement, not a preschool milestone. When a child is pressured to perform at this level, they begin to incur an emotional cost. This early friction starts to draw from their foundational sense of security, the very asset they need for their long-term emotional health. When a parent agonizes over a missed dance step at age 3, they are often trying to satisfy their own unfulfilled ambitions. They are managing their own past rather than securing the child's future. To understand why this early pressure fails, we have to look at the strict biological and psychological mechanics governing children under 5. At this stage of development, a child's actions are not strategic plots for success or failure. They are driven almost entirely by inherited genetics and a sponge-like absorption of their immediate surroundings. In this early development flowchart, genetic traits and immediate environment funnel down to produce a child's behavior. Therefore, getting angry at a toddler's performance is misdirected. Negative reactions feed back into the loop, disrupting behavior further. The struggling child simply mirrors projected adult anxieties. Building emotional wealth in children requires a shift in focus. It means moving away from blaming the mirror and changing what is reflected into it. There is a persistent belief that early childhood confidence is built through constant correction and strict adherence to a routine. The data on early development points in the opposite direction. Forcing a child to bear the weight of intense parental expectations is exhausting. It crushes their natural developmental timeline, manufacturing anxiety where self-esteem should grow. Confidence in early childhood is fostered through a process called environmental design. This approach requires 3 specific components: surrounding the child with supportive people, and providing a dedicated physical space, and granting them the freedom to safely experiment and break boundaries without fear of criticism. Genuine confidence is the byproduct of an environment that allows a child to safely fail and figure themselves out on their own timeline. This leaves parents with a choice between 2 distinct roles. You can operate as a warden, managing a child to execute a prescribed routine, or you can act as a guide, holding space for them to make their own discoveries. The warden approach carries a biological cost. It can trap a child in a cycle of inherited trauma, ensuring they repeat the anxieties of their parents rather than finding a better version of their environment. The guide approach releases that pressure. It recognizes that early parenting relies on creating the space for a child to discover their inherent individuality. In the context of early development, the truest form of health is the refusal to pass down generational ego. Letting go of control grants the child a clean slate of emotional health. We operate in a society focused on making children fit into preconceived, easily measurable molds of success. Forcing conformity through constant critique to meet those standards can strip a child of their emotional currency. Confidence emerges under specific conditions. It appears when a child feels seen, heard, and accepted for exactly who they naturally are, not who an audience expected them to be. Raising an individual who is comfortable standing out represents a significant achievement in emotional health. It fosters a child who is defined by their own identity, rather than by how well they followed a childhood routine.